Welcome CBOR members. Today we are going to discuss the present and future of technology in the commercial real estate industry. The session should be informational and a whole lot of fun. So put on your seatbelts and get ready for a wild ride as we dive into commercial real estate technology, and also welcome to the age of artificial intelligence.
Welcome everyone, thank you for joining today. I'm Andy Gutman, I'm president of the Farbman group, and this is the rise of technology in a technology-resistant industry. I call it that because for many years our industry fought the use of technology. We believed that relationships would carry the day, and that the slower, steady method of getting information was a better way. Today, technology puts information at our fingertips. It makes it readily available and makes it something that allows us to get a competitive edge and an understanding of what's out there. It allows us to service our clients better. It allows us to be better at what we do. The intro video you saw today was using a software called Synthesia.ai. It's a software that allows us to record videos using AI instead of real people to do the videos. We type in the information we want spoken, we type in the script, so to speak, and we have built-in actors. I think one day you'll see AI being so good that movies and other things will be done looking like they're being done with real people, and yet it will be simply AI doing that for us. That being said, today we're using it to do our processes and procedures in a way that allows people to get a little bit more than they would off of a flow chart or a piece of paper, document on the screen they have to read. So we think it'll be interesting. We're also going to use that for intros to videos about our properties, and it's a really cool new piece of technology. Now, as for me, I've been in the industry since 1991. I graduated from Michigan State University with a degree in accounting. I know, I'll give a second for applause for the greatest university on earth. But I graduated in 91 when there was a recession. There weren't a lot of jobs available. I thought I was going to become a CPA, and instead I worked a couple of odd jobs. I worked at a drugstore, I worked at Radio Shack, I worked at my uncle's law firm, all at the same time trying to make as much as I would at an introductory job until one came along. The one that came along was working for a Michigan-based, family-owned, at the time 75-year-old company that it was focused on commercial real estate. They were looking for an accountant, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I did find that after the first year of it, I absolutely loved the commercial real estate industry, the deal flow, the challenges, the problem solving. And I absolutely did not like accounting, but it was a means to an end. It was a great way to get an intro. And I always believe if you understand the numbers of any industry, it gives you a leg up on understanding the industry itself and helps you be at what you do. So I fell into it. I've been in the industry now for 30 years, and currently with the Farbman group as president for the, well, not as president for the last 25, but I've been here for 25 years, and I've been president now for about 10 years. It's a fantastic company. It has allowed me to dive into things like technology and bring us to the next level through use of it. So I hope you find this video interesting. We'll be together for the next 30 to 45 minutes. And I hope that it's everything you dreamed about when you dreamed about a technology video. So welcome, everyone. When I first started out working in commercial real estate, even accounting was being done in a very archaic manner. It was being done on green bar paper, and many companies still hadn't embraced computers. Thankfully, the company I took my first full-time job with did have computers, did realize the importance of it, but there wasn't a lot you could do with technology at the time. Information was slow. you'd get your accounting reports at 25 days after the month ended. And if you were lucky, you could take that and utilize that information that was now 55 days stale or slow, and utilize that to figure out what your next moves were. What were your problems? What were you chasing? Um, and there was very little other technological advances. The industry was slow, and it was a very tough time to use data. And I really believe that understanding the data of what you do makes a difference in how you perform, whether you're working for clients and trying to tell them what you're doing with their leasing, whether you're trying to get photographs of your buildings or monitor the heat or the cooling in your building and see where there's problems. Um, Technology drives all that. If you understand what's been sold and what the comps are, it used to be you'd have to wait for magazine to come out with all that information on it, and it came out every 30 days. Now it's at your fingertips. And so there's a lot of ways that technology has influenced what we do and allows us to see data in real time. More than that, give us historical to current and future projections. So there's a variety of different things that we can do today that will make a difference in what you do with your clients, with your business. And so use of that data technology at your fingertips makes a huge difference in it and in our industry. But it's only been the last 10 to 15 years that we've really embraced technology. We were resistant to it. You would hear brokers saying things like, well, it's really just about the relationship with my clients. They really just want to talk to me. They don't want to see the information. That's just, that's not a really good use of my time to spend it putting in information. But those same brokers nowadays, if you're trying to get a listing and you're not using VTS or some Yardi version or some other um, software that updates your clients on what's going on in real time, those clients aren't going to stay with you for very long. They want knowledge and they want to understand that you're working on their business. And so you have a showing using software the minute that you're done to tell them what happened with that showing, that they get an update on their computer, is a fantastic thing. And people crave that knowledge. If they know you're working on their building, they can be a little bit more understanding if deals aren't going through. And using that technology helps them understand maybe why the deal isn't happening. We showed your building to 5 tenants. Here's the resistant points. Few of them didn't they feel like it needs an upgrade. The lobbies were a little stale and looking old. Putting that into a database makes a huge difference. And I think people really appreciate that. What they do with that knowledge is a different story. You might have a client that says, okay, I can't update my lobby right now. I just don't have the funds. And then you can talk to them about strategy that can make a difference. Okay, your building isn't going to get the next round of tenants if they are looking for something fresh and modern. Let's take a look at what your price point is. Maybe that's something we can look at. Or what else can we do? Can we offer, when they sign, an upgraded space or something to that effect? So it really helps you problem solve with that as well. And again, it's in real time. And that makes a difference. Now, I want to state, as we go through a variety of software that's out there right now, I want to talk about the fact that I am not trying to pitch any particular software. The ones we use are the ones that I'm familiar with, but at Farbman, we have a committee. It's called Farbman 3000 that's dedicated to the future of technology. And we have volunteers that when we see or hear or we seek out new technology, those volunteers help us to make sure that we vet that it makes sense. And we tend to utilize those things that make sense. And we try to get opportunities to sample the technology before signing up, before putting in for the long haul. But what we've also found is many of the things we use give us that advantage today. And it's pennies on the dollar. Some of our software is $15 per person per month. And how do you not do that when you're dealing with large accounts or even small accounts? So I'm not trying to pitch a particular software. I don't see any patches that say Yardi or VTS on my clothes. I have no endorsements, but I do like the idea of what some of these technologies can do, and then I'll leave it to you to go seek alternatives to them, see what else is out there. So on to the next chapter. The cornerstone, I think, to making sure that you're utilizing the best information possible is the financial software that's out there. Whether you're going to use QuickBooks, whether you're going to use Yardi or MRI, all of them have their value. But this, to me, is one of the biggest powerhouses of information. We use Yardi Voyager. It's a fantastic piece of software. And more than that, there's a lot of reports you can do within. There's a lot of analytics you can do in that software. But more important than that is you have the ability to write your own software with it. We tend to utilize outside report writing companies to do that, to tailor things to our own needs. But everything they give you, there's hundreds and hundreds of reports that can help you. I'm putting on a property that we use. It's one of our former properties, 209 West Jackson in Chicago, Illinois. And I'm just using that as a sample. But what you can see is the power of information at your fingertips. So I've put a stacking plan together here just by clicking on the main page. And it can show me this is outdated. We haven't owned it for a long time, but you can see where the vacancy is, all in black on here. You can see where people are coming together and have their terms still left. And then it gives you how much of your building is coming up in different years. So in this case, because it's outdated, it's showing 54% vacant. That's not really where the building is today, with 7 or 12% month to month. And then you can see different eras of what you've got to look for. Now, this would be a very bad place to be, although if you're in the process of buying a property and you saw this, you might see opportunity. But having that at our fingertips really makes it simple. Then we can use to say, okay, where are our pressure points? If 2022 has 12% of the building coming up, we need to keep an eye on it. Now we know this is an office building. Office leases tend to be 3 to 5 years for the most part, but it helps you gauge where you need to be and where you need to start thinking about when's your sales point. And again, this is just powerful information at your fingertips. So that's a stacking plan. It gives you great analytics in terms of things like your rent roll or your receivables. In this case, receivables. So we'll pull down 209 West Jackson again. We'll run it for today, although that will look dismal at this point to do that. And actually, it has nothing coming up. But if it did, it would show you how much is current, how much is 30 days, and so on. And having that available to you at your fingertips, again, huge. Where are you having problems? And if you really wanted to show that, you would show, you'd show your whole tenancy and who's out there, and it would show you by tenant who your problem tenants are. At the same time, we've got a variety of other reports, rent roll that you can do, shows you who's in space and who's in place and how long they're there for by individual tenant. Again, this will be an outdated one, but it'll give you an idea of what you can see and what's coming up with your property. And it takes a minute to hit the screen. There we go. And so in this case, it'll tell you, again, this is outdated, but Panda Express is coming up as a retailer. Oh my God, we really need to focus on renewing them as a lease. Or you've got another tenant that is actually on month to month, and you've got to deal with that. So there's a variety of things you can see here. How much are you taking in by tenant? What kind of rents are you getting per square foot? A big view of that. And what's your average? And so all these things become helpful data points, the financial tools, and you can see there's so many different reports and analytics you can do that get you an idea of what's going on with your property. One of my favorite ones inside of your analytics is called a tenancy schedule. And what it does is it gives you the ability to see the different pieces of a lease. I call it lease abstracting for all of your all of your various tenants. So you can see what different portions of the lease are out there. May or may not be helpful. What kind of verbiage is in your lease? So subrogation clause is in this lease. They have a renewal option, but in this case, it's probably expired. And what do they pay for late fees? What's holdover look like? All the different criteria and interesting facts at your fingertips that you need. Now, sometimes you have to go back to the lease itself, but as a starting point, knowing that they pay it on late fees, this dollar amount will help you plug that in and automate that. If a tenant comes to you and they have CAM questions, what kind of audit rights do they have? Again, this is technology at your fingertips. Most people sitting here today are using some form of this. If you have a QuickBooks or something, it's still at the lower end of what you can get out of it, but it's better than nothing, and gives you a good amount of data. But a financial software package is probably one of the most important things that you have, and I highly recommend looking at that. There's several at the top. To me, Yardi Voyager is the most comprehensive one, and a company that invests in itself every day, comes up with new things, always at a cost, but well worth doing. One of the software packages that we use here at Farbman is called VTS. And VTS allows us to showcase, whether as a landlord rep or a tenant rep, what's going on at our properties. So this, I put up on the screen a property of ours in Troy, Michigan, a little industrial center. It's pseudo-industrial. It's got a few dock doors, but mostly it's engineering type space. And it's a very small property, but you can see some of the activity that's going on in the property. And what it allows us to do is take that activity and utilize it for our ownership. So starting on the side, you can see where it shows us. I'm looking at the deal flow side of it, but it also can show us leases done, options, budgets, comparables, which is huge in what we're doing. How does our property compare to others? We can look at insights into properties, flip over to a tenant rep map to it, discuss the marketplace and review that, a newer feature. And then what it allows us to do is take a look at what's been going on. So one of our brokers is helping to show this. And this is who they showed it to, a CBRE broker who was looking for an undisclosed client, 12,000 square feet at our property. It gives you the opportunity to look at the stage of that. Are they touring? Is it into a proposal stage, inquiry? There's lots of different things. And when you're done with it, if the deal doesn't go through, a dead deal or idle. So it really gives you some options there. And our broker, Brian Crawford, but I can leave a comment to it. So if I want to know what happened with it, I can click on leave a comment. And I can check as the client and say, hi, Brian, any updates on this prospect? And he'll get that in real time, post it. It'll go to his computer. It's a Sunday, so I'm sure he's going to really appreciate that. But it allowed me to do that. And it just gets you through all the different prospects that have come through over time. It allows you to showcase that under report, hidden under my face right now, so I can pull down reports. I can do all sorts of things with this and really get that out to the client and show them what's going on with it. So I have a lot of opportunities in here to do that. It's got pictures of it. I can go to other buildings that we do and look at those. So it's really a very cool thing. But the big thing about it is in real time, and that makes a huge difference with us. So, a lot of times what you're looking at is slow to move. If you're still using Excel, you've got to update that every day. And that's not a lot of fun to do for your clients. But all I have to do is log into this. I can do it from my phone. I'm on the road. I get done with the showing. I can sit in my car in the building office, type it in and tell the clients what happened, then can export the data to them, send it as a monthly report in an accounting or a financial package, or just send that to them overall. It shows the volume of deals we've got. Just a fantastic piece of software. There's a lot of software like this that you can use. This one, we started out in the early stages of it when it was another software company that merged with VTS to form this company. And we were sample users. We were part of their early phase, so it cost us nothing to test it out. And ultimately, for many years, for being early adopters of it, we had a built-in low-cost value to it. It's now, those days are over, but it was one of those things where we were able to participate in it just as that user that came on board to help them figure out what people in commercial real estate needed. And so there's a lot of those software companies that are doing that, that if you get in early enough, just by being an early adopter or someone willing to help them with their data or how it should look, it goes a long way. So that's it for VTS, and off we go. One of the areas that in real estate technology that's coming online is the rise of smart buildings, and it's somewhat of a play on words because there is a software system called RISE that has been integrated into buildings. It's now actually owned by VTS, which you'll have seen earlier. But these software allow you to look at your buildings and maximize them. For instance, we use a software device. It's actually a piece of hardware and attached software that is called iCare. We put it into some of our suites to monitor temperature, and if it gets below a certain number of degrees, it allows us to get in there, see what the problem is before we have a pipe burst or something worse than that happens. And so we implemented that many years ago. It's required to put that into our vacancies, so that and strong touch point areas of the building, somewhere where cold air could get in the winter. And it literally, since we've done that, we have not had pipe bursts in our buildings for many years. But it speaks to us. We set it for a certain temperature and we let it go. And it gives us 2 to 3 hour window to correct that if it gets too low. Up on my screen now is an app called PDK, Pro Data Key. And this is one that allows you to give access to your spaces that are set up for this on the fly. And so if you set up access panels or keys to different spaces, you can allow people access to your building. And where it comes in handy is a number of different ways. We use it here at our Essex Center as a way to get in and out of the building. So if you want to open a door, you can jump into the app and see what doors you want to get in. I want to open the lobby entrance. I click on that and it allows me access. And so one of the things that we've done is for our brokers, they could have someone that wants to see a building in Detroit, Michigan, and they could be all the way out in Troy. And these people are like, well, we stopped by the building. Can you show us the space? You don't want to miss that opportunity if you're far away. So with Pro Data Key, they say, well, I can't make it out there now, but I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to see this fantastic space. They open the door, they give them access, and they didn't miss out. And on a personal note, this has come in handy for me at our building. I tend to work late into the evening, and one night I left my office keys in the building and shut the door behind me and realized that they were up there and I couldn't get back in the morning. Well, I opened up my app. It allowed me access to the building and then to our suite. Very quickly, everything was okay, and I didn't need those keys anymore. But that's the great thing about it. The other thing, we've got a variety of these building systems that deal with your utilities. So in this case, I'm pulling up Code Labs, a company out of Detroit, Michigan. They deal in smart building software. And what does that mean? They attach to your utilities. That's what we've at least started with. Putting them in with our building system, HVAC, our electrical. We can see what kind of challenges there are. So if you have a compressor that's not performing, we get a notice, a warning that says this is an issue, or you can see spikes in temperature in different areas ahead of time. This one's rising. It went from 69 degrees to 75 in the last 2 hours. Here's a warning about that, and you can get to it before it becomes too uncomfortable for your tenants, but it allows you to set these points so that you can wind your temperatures down in the evening. so that you're not paying to keep it at 70 degrees overnight, bring it back up early in the morning, watch those patterns, save money on that. And it finds ways to help us find better ways to utilize our systems. And so from that, we found a number of ways to save money, have better systems, to have better tenant happiness in their buildings. So, we're able to get ahead of danger points in temperature just by having it there. And although you'll never get everyone who's happy, you could have two people sitting within a foot of each other, one's cold, one's hot. We won't cure that. Although I say that, and there's a system out there that allows you through ceiling grid to put individual heating and cooling ducts by each person's space and push a burst of cold or hot air on people if that's what they want. We found that to be terribly priced at this point, but one day that could be a thing that works really well. But in the meantime, these new smart systems of every kind will be game changers for people who implement them. And the cost of all these is more than paid for through the savings that you get. The newest pieces of software that we're using at Farbman is an organization called Advan Reveal. Cute play on words, REVEAL, which is real estate. And what it allows us to do is look at the way traffic impacts our buildings. Now, once again, I've taken our Essex Center and used that as the guideline for what we're trying to do. And so what I'd like to show you is a little bit about what we can do here. First of all, you've got the underlying map that shows you where we are, shows you similar properties. But the nice thing is, this type of software allows us to see analytics associated with it. So in this case, we've got the number of visits that have happened estimated in July of 2021, year-over-year change associated with that. And some of that is because people are not coming back to work yet. We've got information that it will show you on where their home is and where they work. How does it rank by year over year? And of course, for work, it's in the 99th percentile. Year over year for visits, it's 4% of what it was. It's in the 56th percentile for say by square footage, and of course 94th percentile for rank. So it gives you a lot of information on the property itself and how the traffic works. It shows you demographics, who's coming to work and why, what percentage of people, and you can see there's the income of people coming to this location, how the daily traffic works up to today, how the hourly traffic works. You can tell a little slower from Friday through Monday and whatever there is there. And then it gets into things like, where are people coming from to this office? Where do they work? Where do they live? And we can trail that back to that. It's a software that uses cell phone towers to kind of ping, where people are coming from. It does not disclose the actual cell phones, and that's still not allowed at this point in time. But it gives you a whole lot of information on the property itself, allows you to roll right up on it. You can compare it to other properties and look at a larger swath of things. You can look at a satellite view of it. But the biggest thing it does is it gives you the traffic counts coming and going from the property. It tells you who might be in here, a little company called the Farbman Group. And you can see the surrounding area and see what your competition is doing. If I want to look at other properties, I might move the grid a little bit and say, oh, well, here's a little complex next door, a couple doors down, and let's look at how their traffic is and how it compares. And so you'd be able to pull that up and get a grid of that. And you can show how my traffic works compared to a competing building. This software is game changing. I think the biggest thing that it'll work for is retail. As you can see, where people are coming and going to your retail, whether it's a strip center or an enclosed mall, it gives you that access to where they're coming from, going to. Where do they go after? Where do they come from before? How many people are coming there every day? how does that compare to other retail locations in the area? Same thing for hotels. So Advent is a fantastic piece of software. Brand new. This is one of the more expensive ones on the market. There's a lot of data that goes into it. They tell us that they have 1.3 trillion data points in their software. They capture about a third of all cell phones out there. So it's pretty amazing. And it's just something that we believe will help when you're making decisions. You have a retail client that says, I want to go somewhere in Southfield, Michigan. Can you help me with that? Well, we've got the software that can track that. Here's 7 locations. Here's their traffic counts. Here's what they can do to help you. And I think that's going to be just a game changer for helping find locations, helping to understand why locations are not doing well. We had a client in Chicago recently who said, I've got a retail space in an office building that 2 years ago was seeing 2,000 visitors a week, and now we're slowing down. We've got a couple hundred. Well, obviously COVID played into some of that, but we also looked at the traffic counts that are coming back online in the city, and realized that that just doesn't do the volume that the neighboring building does. And so we reached out to them and found another location for them that should do better for what they want to accomplish. So just amazing software with a tremendous difference maker. One of the software packages that Farbman uses is called Build Out, and I couldn't find a way to share my screen on Build Out without showing you all of the listings we have and giving everyone an opportunity to view that. So I decided to show you their website instead. I think one of the things that I like best is it makes your listings and makes your ability to pitch what you do a whole lot easier. So Build Out allows you to set up every one of your listings inside of their software and allows you to show them on your website. So it populates your website with that. It allows you to collect the leads associated with that and get data and analytics associated with various marketing campaigns that you do. One of the things that I really like is you can create a website on the fly for a property. So if I get a call from a prospect at 1 o'clock and they say, can you meet me at my office at 2? I want to talk about 28400 Northwestern Farbman Group headquarters. But they might say, I want to talk to you about that. You now have a 10-minute ride over to their office, but you have 5 minutes to spare in looking up all the information on them. You could, before you even meet with them, set up and populate a property website for that particular property with just a few clicks of the button. It's an amazing thing to do, and it gets that information out there. It also sends that information to various databases, not your website, but the information you put into Build Out into your website, and populates other tracking sites to allow it to be posted in a variety of places just at the click of a button. So it's a really fantastic tool. It gives you a lot of different capabilities that, when you're trying to get listings and you're trying to market a property, make it a whole lot easier than what you used to do, which, putting it on your website, you have to call a designer and do all those different things. But now you can put out site plans, you can put in the property inventory plugin in there, instantly create documentation in a variety of marketing templates that they've got that allows you to do it. And I'm not doing justice to this particular software, but it is an absolute game changer. There's a lot of competitors to it. We love Build Out. It makes things simple. We're a company that has close to 700 listings on average in a given month for just landlord rep. And this just makes it easy. Our people are up and running in a matter of seconds. And I'm a big believer in utilizing this software as a way of showcasing your abilities, getting everything out there in a uniform manner, and making it easy on our marketing department to do what needs to be done. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me to talk about the rise of technology And a little bit about the technology that's available today. I would say everybody keep checking on all the possibilities. The future is wide open for all of us, but we have to embrace technology in order to enjoy the benefits of it. Have a great day, and I hope you've enjoyed this session.